Hello, everyone. Welcome to Ladies of Sosa podcast. My name is Sahra.
And my name is Christine.
Today, Christine Nadu has...
No.
Okay.
Today is all about reactions, okay?
Yes.
So I came across a video on Facebook that originally came from TikTok that a South Sudanese page shared.
Yes.
And it was one of our South Sudanese sisters basically speaking on dating South Sudanese men. So I want to play it for the panel and get their reactions. And yeah,
we never. I haven't seen it. Vaida hasn't seen it.
I saw it.
You saw it?
I saw it. I just like to refresh my memory. I'm happy.
Okay. I've never seen it. Christine did send it to me apparently, but I just didn't get.
She don't be reading my messages, y'all. It's okay.
But you know what? This is the time. This is our chance.
Yeah. Okay.
That adds to the dynamic. That's how it works.
Oh, Vaida's in the house. Emmanuel's in the house.
Oh my goodness! We didn't even introduce our panel. Vaida.
It's me. Hey.
What
the fuck?
Emmanuel, go ahead.
Hey, Emmanuel.
Great. Woo! Awesome. Okay. So here's the video.
Period.
Why I don't date Sudanese men. This is in no particular order. So the first reason is a lot of them, especially in my generation and a couple years older than me, I'm 20, so we're talking 20 to 35, let's say. Many of them are trappers, street life, right? And that lifestyle leads to two places, dead or in jail. There are so many Sudanese men who are either dead or in jail, who are super young, right? Why would I decide that I want to be with a man like that, knowing where it's going to end? You know what I mean? The second thing is these men, let's say another age group, let's say 25 to 35, right? I know so many men who are 25 to 35 who are Sudanese who still live with their mom, who still don't have an education, who still don't work, right? It's embarrassing. Imagine being 30 years old, living with your mom on welfare as a grown man. The next thing is education. A lot of these Sudanese men are not educated. They don't go to college, they don't go to university. And right now, we have a really big problem with the guys who are 17, 18, 19, 20 years old who don't even want to get their GED. I've sat down and I've had debates with Sudanese men my age who have given me a list of reasons why they should not and will not graduate secondary. Why would I be with a man who hasn't even graduated secondary? Now, let's push it a little bit further. These men are also the same men wanting to have children. You're out here trying to procreate, knowing you have no education, no income, and no plans for your future. Yet now you want to have a baby. You're starting up a family and you got kids. What are you going to do with these kids? So, the things that I'm saying, a lot of Sudanese women agree with. A lot of us women, we sit down, we have conversations, and we agree. I have a friend whose brother is 30 years old, lives at home, no job, no career, no income. But she's 18 and she's in nursing school. Me, myself, I'm 20, I'm in nursing school. Why would I sit down and go procreate with Dang, who came out of prison for 4 years for a gun charge? What am I going to do with him? But because he's Sudanese, I must be with him? No, this is the majority and how it is in the West. This video is in no way to bash Sudanese men, to tear them down and whatnot. However, these are the cards that we're dealing with in the West. Right? It's really, really hard to sit down and marry someone who had a different life experience than you, who doesn't work as hard as you, who isn't as successful as you. And to be honest, as women, we do not want to be more successful than our man. We don't.
Okay. Oh. So she had a lot of things to say.
Yeah, she did.
Based on our previous conversations about dating and everything like that,
I think it goes back to just like community. Like I'm sure that's her truth. Like she's talking about what it's like to date South Sudanese men in her specific community, but she doesn't have access to the type of men that she would be most equally yoked with, I would say.
Like that word,
you know?
Where is she from? Because I don't think she's American, because she said she was saying secondary.
She said in the West, though.
In the West.
I think she's just me. I don't know. She could live.
I feel like
wherever.
she sounds like she might be Australian.
She might. I think no. She doesn't have an Australian accent. I think she might be Canadian
American or Canadian.
I think she's Canadian. Yeah. But I do want to read a comment that somebody actually left on our latest episode talking about the arranged marriages, or like how women in the diaspora could potentially get married and find their partners. Make sure you check out that episode. But somebody kind of said something in relation to what she said. And she said, we need a part 2 of this conversation because I feel like Sudanese women are held to a high standard by our families, which is why we're so successful now. But men were not held to that same standard. Growing up, y'all need to use punctuation so I can read this. She said, so now it looks like we have high standards when in reality the men are lacking. And sis was mad. She made that a whole one sentence.
Well, because in that episode, I think the men were just saying like we need to lower our expectations and be more realistic. So I think that's why
she was saying.
She said. Right. So. And I like what Vaida said about access. You might not have access to that caliber of men in your community or where you're at.
Do we have the number of men to match the number of successful women? Do we have the number of successful South Sudanese men to match the number of successful South Sudanese women? You said no.
I say no in the fact we don't have as much visible men as there are visibly successful.
What does that mean?
Women. Like I would say like there are more Sudanese women that are visibly successful, but like a lot of these Sudanese dudes are in like trade schools and they're making money that way and they're doing jobs that aren't necessarily as glorified as they are supposed to be. And these kind of men are not really going to date women who respectfully are educated or who are in that kind of like area because they feel like, why do I need to date somebody that's in college if she feels like I'm less than her for just going to a trade school and making this amount of money? So it's kind of that situation that happens for some of these men. And also it's kind of a pride thing because you want a wife that's going to be at home and take care of the kids. And with our old school mindset with these men who are successful, it's like, if you're going to get a providing Sudanese man, he's not going to be feminist and a person that's going to give you some new ideals.
That's true.
He's going to be old school.
So it kind of switches the gender roles, like the cultural roles in our community, because men are supposed to be the providers culturally, and then women are supposed to be the ones taking care of the kids and being at home. And so we're kind of like switching. Just like I think every society is kind of like changing the norms a little bit, but it makes an impact on our culture and our community because like we're used to like men being like superior as far as like finances and just culturally men are the ones who they're the ones who take care of the family. They pay for everything. We hold men to a higher standard. Now women are making money, like South Sudanese women are making money, and I don't know the implications of that. So that we're gonna explore that.
The implications of that is y'all are gonna get married to other groups of men, and it's just the truth, and that's all right. Ain't nothing wrong with it. Like that's just generally what's gonna happen, and it's gonna be a bigger diaspora. But like ironically, back home, there's a lot of us. We're one of the biggest and thriving, and we're growing. So a lot of this situation is kind of gonna solve itself. So like, if you're gonna date outside and be happy.
Men.
There's enough men, but I don't know what question you asked. Like, do you think there's enough?
Is there enough
established or at a certain caliber
to match the women?
Even out? I don't think there's enough. I do think that there are successful South Sudanese men, even within our community here, who are doing amazing things, have businesses, work in tech, like have amazing careers and doing great things. But I don't think that the number is enough to match.
But I also think that those successful South Sudanese men are also dating outside. Yeah, they're also dating other women outside of the
That's what I'm saying.
culture.
They're either taken or like, it's just not enough.
Yeah.
This is the conversation that's happening to all Black people. Like this is just.
I don't think it's
all Black.
I don't think it's happening to all Black people because I feel like South Sudanese specifically, there's not that many of us, and then you have like an area like Dallas per se. I just feel like if you're not tapped in, it's really hard to make that a reality for yourself to think I'm gonna marry South Sudanese. It's hard to make that. It's a hard thing to stand on that and be confident that's gonna happen if you're not tapped into that. Because like let's look at Nigerian people or like Ethiopian people. You walk every day, you wake up, you leave the house, you're gonna see a Nigerian person, you're gonna see an Ethiopian person. You know what I mean? But like it's really hard to just see our people like just out here because just like the numbers just aren't there. It doesn't work in our favor. So it's gonna take a lot more intention and favor, and just like favor is crazy. But like when we talked about arranged marriages, that's what it's gonna take, I feel like, in order to make that a reality. Like your friends, your parents helping you out to make it a reality, because I feel like in today's day and age, depending on where you live, it can be super hard.
Yeah. I got a better idea. Somebody who's a developer, hit me up. I got an idea. Pseudo date. Hey, we get together, develop. Now we have specific requirements, specific things, and ideals, and then now you get people who are like-minded and want.
There's already a South Sudanese dating app
I didn't know
in the
that.
process, and he actually reached out to LOS. So we may have him. Yeah. So we could talk.
What's it called?
That would be awesome.
Yeah. But
why are we not dating each other? And like a different perspective for someone who grew up here.
Yeah.
Who knows, like, the community and like all the possible options. I just don't.
It's not viable.
Like, basically, I know everybody who's here for the most part. People have moved here, but like you said, they're either dating someone from a different culture, or they're already taken, or
that's true.
It's a lot of other factors.
Because I've always wanted to. I've always been a girl that like I want to be with a South Sudanese man.
It's the access,
yes,
like Vaida said.
If
you're looking in Dallas, maybe not. But if you open up your options to other states, Australia, other areas, then
true.
Because
I mean, even if there's a good catch in Dallas, it's like I grew up with you.
Yeah,
I know. I've seen. I know your sister. I know. Like it's just like it's awkward. It's not going to be like.
Okay, why would it be awkward? Because like in general, that would be probably better because you know the situation so much better. So, like, at that point, you know each other better, and you can actually
there's not
be able
that
to
many options
focus
in
on
Dallas.
being better. I mean, you're right. Dallas. Look, I ain't even know there was Sudanese women like that in Dallas.
There's so many factors. They dated someone that you know over the years, and now it's going to be awkward, even if they were potentially, there's so many.
Plus, we grew up as, like, cousins, you know what I mean? Like whenever we grow up,
an uncle,
you in your mind that's your cousin. So like until I die, you're my cousin. I don't care. You know what I mean? It's gonna take a lot.
I thank God every day that I stayed away from the community like I did, because I ain't got those problems.
No, you thought you were related.
Do y'all remember the South Sudanese guys that y'all talked to, and South Sudanese girls, and like the most memorable experience?
There wasn't that many.
It's not having it.
You making it seem like we had a roster. She's like,
you guys have Sudanese
your
rosters?
favorite?
Oh my god,
what's your favorite?
Y'all have Sudanese rosters
out of the many.
I used to talk to
a few. Okay,
I talked to a few South Sudanese guys.
Okay.
I liked it.
Which one was your favorite?
Yeah.
It was this little Equatorian teen. I'm just kidding.
Sahra, you are a comedian.
Say the tribe. Say the tribe.
I'll give you that.
What was it? Pujaloo? What was it? Body?
I don't want to give it away.
Yeah. Let's test it, Vaida.
Yeah.
What kind of Equatorian?
No.
Was it my tribe?
No, people in Dallas, because people in Dallas are gonna know who I'm talking about. Yeah, people in Dallas are gonna know, and they're gonna be like, oh. They're gonna reach out to me. They were talking about you on the podcast.
But they're going through files right now. Like, man, looking through that.
Little Equatorian team.
I really did. He was a vibe. Like we got along really well.
Mm-hmm.
I actually had really good experiences talking to South Sudanese men. Honestly, like I had great experiences talking to South Sudanese men.
Amazing.
Right. I mean, I don't know. Like me personally, I had good experiences. We never, obviously, I'm not married, so.
So why do you feel like it didn't work out with them?
I think I was talking to them like at a little bit of a younger stage, when like we weren't planning to get married, like college, or like even younger than college. And I think that's when I was kind of experiencing South Sudanese men.
Like,
I haven't had a South Sudanese man, like adult.
Really?
I was ready to get married at 19. Now that I'm 29, I don't even feel the same way. But when I was 19, I was ready for that marriage. And you know what? Let me shut the fuck up.
Hold up, because I know y'all got stories, and I want to hear your stories, because y'all stories with y'all South Sudanese men.
Mine is short lived because I've only talked to like one South Sudanese guy.
And how did that go?
It was a negative experience. I'm not gonna lie. It was not positive. I wasn't like, oh, I'm never gonna ever South Sudanese. I never was like that, because sometimes it's just like it was just a bad man. It was a toxic situation, and I just have to give him the credit.
He was a bad guy.
It was a very toxic situation.
Child.
And so, yeah.
You're gonna say the situation was toxic. You're not gonna say the person, because
I would say both. It was the situation was toxic and the person was toxic.
He was toxic. If you don't mind, how was he toxic? Because I think
oh my goodness, like.
You know, you girls, guys will be able to.
Oh, my bad.
I really don't even want to, just like, I feel like it's toxic when someone kind of wants to string you along, but they don't want to like give you a title. Like they don't want to commit to you, but they want to like have access to you, and they still want to like be able to call you and stuff and hang out, but they don't really want to like commit to you. I feel like that's toxic when they like dangle the idea of commitment in your face, like, oh, like, you know, I feel like that can be very toxic,
right? And
I feel like, yeah, but I mean, I am in my 20s, so you live and you learn and you move on. So that was,
yeah. Well, you know, I mean, that's real though. That's
real.
Come on, Christine. Come on, give a.
No, I don't have anything negative to say because they might watch this show. So
yeah, that's the hard part.
I don't want to.
That's the hard part about
get any DMs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I personally can dive a little bit more deeper just for context. But I don't think that it was a negative experience, but it definitely wasn't positive. So
right.
It was just a learning experience at a.
Can you say like what it was?
Sure. I think that not having clear direction on where you want to take your life. I don't want to say irresponsible, but not
responsible.
Just having a clear direction where you want to take your life and just being able to be at a certain place, especially if you're older, to where you have your stuff together, like the bare minimum stuff together, and like working towards a career or working towards some type of long-term stability.
Right.
So I think that was
and you've always been like mature for your age. So you kind of always like had your stuff together.
And
like
I think
even
when the
you're
person
young,
is like older than you, it's worse.
Even more disappointing.
Because it's like you're older and I don't want to be having to give you advice or help you get together when you're older.
Yeah, he should be pouring into you.
And then it's like I always used to say, picture the type of life you would have with this person long term, and if you don't like it, go ahead and get out.
That's real.
Yeah. So when you see certain patterns, you're like, okay, this is what it is now. In 10, 20 years, I don't want to wake up one day and be absolutely miserable and be like, okay, I already knew this 20 years ago. Like I already saw the signs. Like they've been the same person. Right. So it would technically be my fault if I stuck around for yeah. So I don't want to be negative, but that was just it's just my personal experience. I didn't have access to maybe the type of guy, or maybe it was my choice, because I do take accountability for choosing that type of person at that young age and being naive and not vetting people better. So that's also on like me as the person who but I definitely learned a lesson.
I feel that. And I feel like I was talking to my sister about this. And even though we both came from households that our parents were married, but I was just like, I feel like when it comes to dating, relationships, stuff of that nature, we had absolutely no guidance. Like no one pulled us to the side and said, hey, this is what you're going to expect to see. This is how you're going to respond. And so like a lot of the time, this is really the blind leading the blind. So we've been having to give each other grace for just all the lessons that we learned, because we went through them ourselves and we helped each other through these situations.
Right.
And hopefully, like, of course, my siblings, you know, they're going to benefit from us going through that stuff. But it would have been so nice to like have guidance, you know, just like what to expect. Like someone before you go to school or something, or just you're at that age where like you're interested in that kind of stuff, just someone being like real with you. Yeah. But it's just been really like blind leading the blind out here.
I mean, I think that's a good point, because like growing up, like my mom never told me how to like what's a good man and what's a bad. Like I mean, it's not her fault. She was busy working 2 jobs, like, you know, doing what she had to do to make sure that our family was good. But like, yeah, when I started dating, I just started, you know, figured it out. Like what kind of man do I want? But like if I kind of had a little bit more of like a direction or like an example, that may have helped a little bit. But yeah, a lot of South Sudanese girls, we really just kind of like figure it out. And then on top of that, we have so many options as far as like race and culture, like, cause we're in the diaspora. And so we're not automatically just going to be like, I'm going to date a South Sudanese. Some girls do. I was one of those girls. But it's a little bit harder.
All were.
Yeah.
And then, you know, maybe you go through
Life.
some PTSD.
No trauma.
I mean, it ain't nothing like, and then it's like the cheating too. That's a big part of it. So
Yeah,
yeah,
these men be cheating, huh?
South Sudanese men don't cheat.
Make it a shirt, make it a t-shirt.
and it's something about being young and like like being cheated on is really traumatizing.
Right.
So and then like dating someone within the community, and you know the way the community gossip and drama is, I think it just makes it 10 times worse because like people are in your business.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
This is the secret. You date Sudanese people that aren't part of the Sudanese community necessarily.
That's
and that
kinda
are
hard, 'cause
alternative.
That's what I'm saying. The ones, because
I've been blessed. I don't know about
let's
y'all.
talk about our type.
okay, yeah.
Okay.
Let's talk about our types. Because that's the thing. It's hard to find because, like you said, there's a smaller pool. Because if you want to date a South Sudanese man in diaspora, now you're limiting your dating pool.
And if you want to date
realistically-
one that's like has their stuff together, everybody wants them.
Private.
Like they're the prize.
Yeah,
in our
cream of the
community.
crop.
Right. Listen, private. Don't nobody know
Yeah.
him. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
good
the type
luck.
I love. Like nobody
Mhm.
knows him. But like, how do you find somebody like that?
You gotta go through.
They're in Sweden.
You gotta go through. You know, you gotta go through
They're in Norway.
your homeboys. They'll tell you about the Sudanese boys that are just low key and just chilling. Like I remember I was having a conversation with my brother Juju, and he was all like, "Yeah, man, he doesn't really get a lot of South Sudanese women around." And I'm just like, "Yeah, dog, it's because they're not a part of the community." But would he prefer to be with a South Sudanese woman? Yes,
We
he
all
would.
do. I always see them
6'5",
online.
dreadlocks,
I'm like,
by the way.
okay, but I never see them like Vaida said around.
Yes, Australia. Why are they all in Australia? How does
I
that
don't know.
possible?
I
How do
don't
they
know.
have all the fine men?
Y'all say that, but the Australia girls say that about us in the United States.
Oh.
So
But you
what are we
know-
doing here?
Okay, growing up, when we used to have our community events and stuff, that's when you would see people. You're like, okay, he's cute. Like you would see good-looking
True.
people your age. We don't have that anymore. So it's like it's rare to run into
Natives of Sosa,
Oh,
create it. Y'all should create your own
Dating.
dating thing or like singles nights.
Yeah.
And then
That's
but
when
keep
people
away
used
the
to get
old
hooked
niggas.
up low key at
Yeah.
the community events,
Yeah.
like
Nah.
conferences. The conferences is where it's at, like the
Yeah.
Victorian conference, which is coming
Yeah,
up.
I think
the
we need
whatever
a
conference.
filter.
Here's
A
the
filter
deal.
to like filter out the type of men that we want. Because a lot of girls, we don't want someone that's always in the hookah lounge
That
or
part.
always at the clubs
Yeah.
or always like
I don't think it's
outside.
that we don't want to date. I feel like all of us would date a South Sudanese
Yes.
man if the right one came along. Like I feel like that would be our first choice. Of course, we're
Yeah.
South Sudanese.
And there's a lot of guys who also feel the same way. They don't want the girl that's always so how do we filter that so that we can like meet each other?
I
So
mean, the truth, here's the thing. The truth of it is like, it's really about visibility. But the problem with visibility is like, they get scooped up like that.
well,
And that's what usually happens.
I think they go outside of South Sudanese girls.
I don't
so
It
we're
think
even-
both dating outside.
Yeah, even the South Sudanese girls who are at that caliber are also dating outside. So then we're kind of like missing each other.
Okay,
Very
so
much
you're
so.
right because I'm thinking about my friends that I know that are at that level that are half of them are with South Sudanese girls, the other half are
Can y'all name a South Sudanese power couple right now?
you're not gonna see one.
There's some on those Juba pages, but because I don't live in Juba, I'm not really.
Oh,
tapped
like
in.
what is it? Juba. What is the page is called? I forgot. There was like Juba.
On Facebook, they'll post
Hot-
like
Hot
the
in
it
Juba.
couples.
Hot and Juba.
I mean, if-
yes, I'd be
yeah.
getting because there are some beautiful South Sudanese couples.
If
Yeah,
Winyan
so
was
there
single,
are
he should
some
go for a knock.
couples back home for sure.
You said what?
Let me be quiet. I was saying if
Yeah.
Winyan was single, him and a knock would be like the perfect.
said
That would be
if?
the it couple.
Damn.
Oh my God, they would be beautiful together. I never thought of
Winyan
that.
and a knock.
Yeah, that would be
Winyan's
such a
not single?
gorgeous couple.
So y'all ship Winyan and a knock.
What do you mean he's not? Yeah,
I
he's,
see.
Damn.
He,
I heard, wasn't he trending for dating an Ethiopian girl?
Yeah, they were on his ass.
Man,
They
it's
wanna play
still
with
East
him,
African.
dog.
Ethiopians are related to us through ancestral lineage because
But
they're
you know, light skin and like all that comes into play.
Man,
Curly hair.
they
it's
still
like,
are
oh.
people.
Isn't a dude?
Yeah, of course.
With
Yeah.
that,
We're more related to
isn't that
them
guy
than
South Sudanese?
Nigerians.
Then the recent one?
Isn't she? She's
I don't
pregnant.
remember.
Oh,
right?
a dude is pregnant with the South Sudanese, guy.
So
Okay.
yeah,
And
they're,
he's
they're
handsome.
a power
Yeah.
couple.
Yeah.
She said he's handsome. Here's what I say, and I have this asked question.
Uh-huh.
Why did you say it like that? He's handsome.
Who's handsome?
Oh,
A dude's guy.
a dude's guy that she's
Oh,
with.
I don't know what he looks like.
Why did I say it like that? Because
Yeah.
he's handsome.
Like, do you think the Sudanese women are
Are a better like higher caliber as far as beauty.
beauty?
I think No, I think that we're women are just more like visible. Our women are just more visible. But I think there's beautiful South
There's
Sudanese
some handsome
men.
South
Yeah,
Sudanese.
did
There's
y'all
a
see
lot.
the basketball team?
Yes.
Oh,
yeah,
never talked
they
about
were looking
that.
great.
Yes.
I know we had the most beautiful
No,
basketball team.
listen. They
hands
not only
down.
were they talented, but they looked good as
Yeah,
well.
and they were tall.
Yes.
And the teeth.
Well
like, come
groomed.
on now. Yeah.
looks good.
Yeah, I think like we're all equally beautiful, but like the
Yeah.
women just get more visibility, honestly. That's what I think.
I just know more women, like the names.
Yes.
And I really want to clear that up, that it's not like a South Sudanese women like don't like, ew, I will not date a South Sudanese man. That's
South
not what
Sudanese-
it is.
that's
I think
never.
it's like factors such as like access, like, you know,
Yeah.
it's just like different things
What-
to where
I mean,
you just don't end up.
What she said on the video, that could be a factor. Like if that's her truth, that's her truth.
Because that limits down the options by a lot. I've had that experience earlier when I was younger, in my early, 20s.
Yeah.
So I don't want that. And that taught me what I don't want. So
Yeah.
of course, like I understand exactly where she's coming from in that.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely try to choose better if the opportunity presents itself.
Absolutely.
Do you have so genuine question? Do you feel that like if we consistently are doing this, the Sudanese outside of Sudan, do you feel like the diaspora is kind of gonna get like watered down the same way that like
for sure,
the
yeah.
Italians
Of course.
and the what's called? So like now we got a quarter or 10th Sudanese man who's Caucasian with the
But
last name Dang. His name is Dang
Yeah.
Ajuk, but
that's
he's
the
like,
downfall of being in the diaspora. That's just naturally going to happen because we're mixed in with a lot of other people.
That's a product of war and us having to flee our country and ending up in everywhere all over the world.
Exactly.
So,
That's just gonna be.
I'm moving
our
back.
negative-
That solidified it.
Yeah,
that ain't having it.
Because we just talked about how in South Sudan there's power couples and like equally yoked
because
people.
the proximity.
But, because they're around all South Sudanese people, so they're going to be around South
you have
Sudanese
more
excellence.
options. You're gonna find your one.
Yes.
You know?
I'm
Actually,
retiring.
somebody from South Sudan actually commented on our one of our TikTok clips and was like, I'm praying for the South Sudanese girls in diaspora.
Thank you. We need all the
It's
prayers.
hard.
Hey, brother, they gone.
Thank you.
They gone.
No, and the thing is,
Say
it's
goodbye.
like we go to school, we work around other races, other groups of men. So, like I said, just the proximity, you meet someone, they like you, you might fall in love with them. So, I think it's because, like you said, we're not like only in community with South Sudanese people.
Yeah.
So,
And I think a lot of girls push back their marriage, like the time where they can get married, because they want to marry a South Sudanese guy. Like,
I feel like that helps with the dowry because at least they understand. Because our dowry honestly is high, so that's hard to explain to someone of another culture that you're.
But imagine like you always thought you're gonna marry a South Sudanese guy and you want to date a South Sudanese guy, so you kind of blow off other guys, and then now people are like, "Oh, why are you not married?"
I feel like marry a South Sudanese guy if you can. Like that obviously is first choice, but I just believe in like whoever loves you, who's gonna give you. Because at the end of the day, we do have a timeline as women.
Yeah.
So you have to be very realistic with that. And if like you can't get a South Sudanese guy and you find someone who loves you and wants to build a life with you and all that, then why not?
Yeah. Because I have some South Sudanese girlfriends who are like, I want to be with the South Sudanese man, like long term, forever. But right now it's like the South Sudanese man is not acting right.
You got the placeholders.
Yeah, so it's like, what do you
Dang,
do?
that's cold. Imagine if you wanted the placeholder.
Like, so what do you do? Like, you know, so that's tough too. But I do also want to say, like, because we talked about backing off that video, our culture created the men this way. Truthfully, I
that
think
comment that she left. Yeah, I think they are very hard on girls, and the expectation is set from a very young age. It's not only even about education. It's like everything. You're being trained from like a child to like prepare for your husband. You need to be able to cook. You need to be able to do this. So you're always expected like to be the best, like smart in school, good at home, cook, clean, do this, do that. So they really raise us to be on our P's and Q's.
Can I get my theory off?
Yeah, go ahead.
So my theory is that like the crash out gene is very strong in the Sudanese man because we come from war. So you got a lot of dudes who they're like with epigenetics, you're gonna inherit certain things. So these are dudes that already have that in them to like crash out, go to war and all that stuff. So what's like the easiest thing that's comparable to war? Being in a gang, being able to sell drugs, doing that.
Yeah.
And their mindset is I'm probably gonna die young, so let me try to have these kids, let me do this stuff and live life the way they are. And our mothers have always been the ones that were staying, living, trying to push the kids to be better, doing all this stuff, et cetera, et cetera. So the way that they babied the boys was because they knew that the boys would eventually go to war and die. So it's kind of that mentality, I think, that has pushed that. It's just the truth. Am I soft? Am I a new generation of soft life South Sudanese men?
Sad.
Yes, I am. But I think that's what it is the crash out gene and the women who just like, we got some of the strongest women on the planet. Actually, we got the strongest women.
But I do think that our culture does coddle men. It kind of puts a lot of pressure on the South Sudanese women to be everything. And then like when you come to diaspora, it's like not only do you need to know how to cook and clean, you also need to be smart and get a job, like, you know, and like get a good one. And so we're becoming like the all purpose, like, you know, good at everything. We can cook, we can clean, but then we're not meeting an equal partner because I don't know, the men are not getting the same amount of like push pressure on them.
Yeah, I feel like just in general, like even like broadening it out, just I feel like boys in general, I think like there's this notion that boys are easier to raise, and I'm just like, no, boys are not easier to raise. I think people rationalize the neglect in raising boys because even within dating, like it's very, I've experienced, I'll speak anecdotally, but like I've experienced, you know, guys who really just don't have the emotional, like they might be like, I don't know, what's the age, 27 on paper, but like emotionally, they really couldn't tell you how they're feeling. They couldn't express it. But I think because women were given that space, we're given that expectation, you know, to be more emotionally free and, you know, name our emotions. Boys growing up, they're not given that same thing. So they struggle a lot in that arena. And, you know, women then have to end up dating these, you know, men who lack so much in emotional maturity and emotional awareness, and they're not able to be good partners, really. Because
we'll call cap on that. I'm call so much cap on that.
Cap?
Yeah, because I think men are just as emotionally mature as women. It's just women are more catered to when it comes to emotional situations. So with a man, you're not going to be able to be coddled like you have to get the shit done. Now, with my boys, I'm able to emotionally open up, but we know that like when you talk to specific women or how you talk to a woman has to be catered towards her emotional maturity, quote unquote. And a lot of the times women aren't at that emotional maturity as they say that they are, because when you say something blunt to them, it kind of is like, I hate the tone that you're saying it at. Please tone, and you'll tone police.
I feel like you're speaking for yourself because you're able to have that, but there's men, like I have male friends, and they've been able to express to me how like they're not able to, like, in their relationships with like men, like their friendships with other men, it's not as what's the word? It's not as deep. It's not as substantial. It's not like, you know, I feel this XYZ. I mean, you might be able to feel that way, and that's great that you have that liberty in your relationships. Oh, yeah. But I don't think that is a common practice within. You know, like I feel like it's very normal for men to be immature or not really like talk about their emotions around their friends, or to show that because it's like, oh, it's a sign of weakness if I express myself in this way.
It's young men who don't have a community of men to lead them.
And I think it's a lot of people. I think it's a lot of men like that, and I think it puts an unnecessary burden on the women they're dating.
Women have more of a community than men do?
I think women, it's normal for us. It's normal for us to talk about our feelings. Like I couldn't imagine having a friendship, or just like it wouldn't feel like it wouldn't be a sustainable friendship if I had with anyone if I wasn't able to talk about how I feel or how something they did affected me or like what's going on in my life. Yeah. But I feel like it's normal for men to have relationships with friends, and they talk about how women fall out all the time, and men are able to like stay in friendships. But because there's no conflict going on. There's nothing that's
there's conflict going on.
As deep. It doesn't ever. Sometimes it's surface level.
That's where I think you're coming from, like a woman's perspective in that. Because I'm gonna tell you this, like from the men that I've had conversations to, actually most of the men that I know, right? These are hundreds of men, right? Like from being a football player to doing all these different things, right? You know the community that you build is what you're going to get it from, right? So the men that are in the church are going to get it from other men in the church. Like male relationships are completely different because when it is that moment of need is when we have that conversation. Outside of that moment of need, you got to kind of push through it because like nobody in the world is going to really help you with that. Your friends will have this conversation with you and be like, yeah, dog, I was feeling like this. This is how I got through it. This is the solution to get through it, and let's push forward.
Do you guys talk about like your traumas and like stuff like that? Like get deep into like what makes you who you are?
Yeah, I've had multiple conversations with men about the male trauma, and a lot of the times when we have this conversation, I say a lot of young men are angry at the women, and they don't realize that they're angry at the women because, like, for example, some young men who've had sexual experiences will have it with an older woman and just be like, yeah, man, I was just cool. I had it with that older woman because I was really like that. But then you peep how he treats women now, and you're like, dog, you are still scarred from that older woman, but you don't realize it, and that's why you treat women the way that you treat them. And it's like kind of that thing of like,
but that's not fair.
It's not fair. That's a lot of people are like that. It goes vice versa. Some of these young women have had situations with older men, but they don't realize that that's what's happening. The older man scarred them, so now they're angry at men. It's kind of the polar opposite that hits on each side.
I do think because women are taught to like value men, and like it's a patriotic society. Like we're taught to like, well, don't take your trauma to the next relationship, type of thing, because you want to secure a man. You want to be with the man. So we're kind of taught like that's not healthy. Women are always told like that's not healthy. That's not. We're always told like what we need to do to grow, to be better. And I don't think that men get that same messaging. It's like women can be treated any type of way, and like I'm not saying that it goes unchecked, but I don't think it's getting, the balance is just not there. Like women, yes, when things are unhealthy, because women do sometimes carry on things to the next relationship that you're not supposed to do that. But we're always told that that's not right. You need to stop doing that, and because you're not going to get a man, or you're going to be single for the rest of your life. So we're always like, there's always like a checks and balances with women. But I don't think that there's something like that with men, but I could be wrong.
With the men, it's kind of the situation of your emotions as a man is you. Don't tell anybody else about your emotions. Stay the fuck out of there. You are only valuable for what you can provide and what you can protect. That's it. That's what patriarchy is just what a man can provide and what a man can protect. Outside of that, there's no conversation.
So when the
that is your value.
So when the men are not providing, protecting, like we're going back to the original video. So how does
they have no value? Out? They have no value. Like literally, they have no value. That's the whole point. That's what patriarchy is. Is like a Sudanese man has no value if he cannot provide or protect. That's why these young men are going to a crash out situation, because they don't have the education to do anything else, and they haven't had the conversation with somebody else about how to get out of that. And so now the only way I can provide is doing this. Let me get to it. Ironically, they go to where they go. Now they get out. Now they're a truck driver. Now they have a good family situation. Now they get out. Now I know a lot of stories like that also with those Sudanese men that got out of prison. So when she was talking about I can't date him if he has a charge, well, that man actually became a better person afterwards. So like,
okay,
should South Sudanese women open up?
No, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that.
Should we date?
Because that statement right there is like, it's kind of like, I know.
I'm not saying that.
I'm like, no, honestly, should South Sudan, they said last episode that we need to lower our standards.
Wowzers.
Just for the sake of
conversation.
Yeah, I would say like, I'm not going to speak for a personal level. I'm not speaking for Vaida.
Should we open up all our options to reform bad boys?
The thing is, like, I feel like when I was more naive, I thought that I could change people. But now in this era, I'm taking people as they are. So I feel like before I thought like, oh my God, he's not opening up to me. I thought like there was so much labor that I had to do to make the space, but that's not my job. Like I feel like if you're thinking about being with that convicted, thinking about being with someone that has, I'm not judging anyone for having a record. If you're thinking about being with someone, I would speak to the ladies. I would say like, does that person want to change for themselves? First of all,
I'm saying he has to have already changed. He's changed. He has a business. I'm saying the ones that have already done it. Not you don't go for the one that's fresh.
You're saying the people this man already changed.
He already changed, and that's when he got with his
conversation.
I'm not saying go for.
I thought you were saying.
I mean, okay.
I'm saying saving private right.
Let's say someone who has a past, a criminal past, and they approach you. South Sudanese. They're talking to you. They like you, and then they are like, "Hey, I just want to be transparent and let you know that in my past, ABCD happened."
Is this a violent past?
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes you got to put in work. I'm sorry, it's just the truth.
No, see, I'm just not for that.
And that's not fair. That's like, why do women? Because are y'all gonna be dating women that just came out of the penitentiary?
Then it's even different for them.
I mean, if she fine enough,
men
like,
and women,
like,
see, they would.
But that's what I'm saying. But it's just like, I don't like.
I would never recommend that. And
the burden.
It is a burden.
I mean, the truth of it is, capitalism has us so ingratiated to seeing the value of a woman as just her beauty and like childbearing, and a man as what he could provide and what he could do. Ironically, it kind of fucks us over in that way.
Think about it.
No.
If you have a felony, like if you have a charge, you can't. So that means you realistically you probably can't get like a certain level of a job. So that means the woman is going to be the one who's making all the money, who has to pay all the bills. That is a burden on the woman. And if she wants to, that's her choice.
It's a slippery slope. Yeah. It's just a dangerous idea to even recommend it for.
Yeah, that's not.
It's just actually it's
insane.
The way that y'all ran with this narrative that I'm saying, go get married to prison.
No, we're analyzing what it makes sense to like give someone a chance, like if they, and I just
that doesn't make any sense.
I don't think it's fair to tell.
But comparing it to prison,
but I also don't understand. Like, okay, she's talking about the South Sudanese men that came out of prison. That's why I asked where she's from, because I don't know a lot of South Sudanese men that have that type of record. I can understand the ones that like you're not doing anything for yourself, you're not elevating, but I don't really know much about like the South Sudanese men.
They're out there.
Let me say less.
Some of them.
Why does they out there?
No, but I'm like
men in general. Dating the wrong man can literally ruin your life.
I agree.
It could literally destroy you and take everything that you have, everything that you've built, everything that you work for. Like dating the wrong man, having the wrong man in your life can ruin you, and it'll take like so long to build yourself back up if you're ever able to get back to that place. So I think you have to have so much discernment with like who you're letting into your like dating life. And not only that, like the femicide rates, there's so much violence against women. So I feel like you have to think about that. Like every week there's like a new woman that I see online that was like killed by her partner or something. So I think that, not saying that I'm just saying just being aware
of that.
And just being very, very picky, because for us as women, we have to always think about our safety.
Yeah.
So
many different aspects of safety.
Yeah,
there's so many different ways.
And if you do end up in that situation and something happens to you, you will be the one that's blamed. They will say, okay, you should have chose better. Why would she even, so it's a lose-lose situation.
I mean, I feel the same way about men. If you get divorced with your girl and like she cheats on you,
they don't blame men.
You should have chose better.
I mean, y'all don't blame each other.
Yes,
that's
we do.
The reality.
They don't hold their friends accountable. They don't hold
maybe
you.
No, you might do that.
But
in general, like you're not the grander scope of it. I really don't think
he's
like
putting his.
I think y'all genuinely don't understand men. Like men hold each other accountable.
Not real. Well, maybe y'all hold each other accountable to yourselves, but when it comes to like the greater scheme, like society, like women get
piece
the
of shit
greater
men
brunt
don't
of a
hold
lot of
piece of
things.
shit men accountable because they're both pieces of shit, so they don't see anything to hold each other accountable.
Yes, maybe so. But we're talking about society, like in like the bigger scheme of things. Women are the ones who are held responsible for everything that happens to them.
I agree.
And so,
even the way we're raised, I feel like.
Okay, so that
they're
you're
rough
right.
people like they baby girls. No, some of like I've seen even grow up in the community with the aunties. They are like, hey, like with the girls, they're very strict, very like you have to like have your stuff together. You have to get up, take care of do this, do that. Like they're very strict on us, especially like your mother. You're like the mothers are very, very strict on the girls.
Especially, and the thing is like you can tell this is a patriarchy because where women are catering to
men.
It's all male centered.
Men are not raised to cater to women.
Yes,
ever.
because even our moms that raised us, their culture is to cater to men. So when they raise us, they're raising us to cater to men.
Exactly. So they'll tell you like, oh, like you need to do this. Don't be lazy. How are you going to find someone to marry you? How are you going to? It's like from a young age, like everything is like. Basically for your future to-be husband. Yes. Like, so it's all
and that's dangerous.
I've been very so this is one of those moments where I'm
sick of y'all.
I really am. But like that's because like I didn't grow up in that kind of household. Well, I mean still my grandmother tried to instill that. But like my sisters, both of them are in places where they don't really. Men are not the center of their lives.
But Emmanuel, that's your family. You have an amazing family. I love your family.
And I that's just what I get to the
point. But that's not the bulk of South Sudanese
This is what I'm saying is like the next generation, this is going to be the first generation of women where like you're not going to have to really deal with that anymore because like women, I mean, obviously it's always going to be, patriarchy. It's always going to be sexism. That's universal in this country, right? It's just not going to be as crazy as it is in South Sudan, respectfully. And I think it's progress, honestly, that the women are winning because, like, now you don't have to worry. Now the dudes have to do more, and we have to put in more work.
That is a strong word. I feel like winning indicates, like, because I feel like at the end of the day, like, if you really want, like, if you really care about your community and success and stuff like that, like, you're not ever gonna really be winning if like everyone isn't winning. So, like, just because South Sudanese women might be at a level or like where they're getting the education, they're getting a good income, that doesn't, if we're not seeing our counterparts also doing the same thing, it's not going to ever fully be like 100%. You know, it's not going to be like a good satisfaction because it's not being like shared within, you know, that our community. Yeah. You know, marriage is one of like, I remember Sahra was saying how like marriage is like the sharing of resources. If you're not able to share resources within your own community, I feel like, how are you going to say you could be winning on an individual level, but like on a collective level, that's different.
Yeah.
I say the images of Sudanese women being able to take autonomy for themselves will also help out in South Sudan. And I think the advent of like ladies of Sosa and stuff like that will help these young ladies to be able to finally be like, you know what? We should have autonomy and we should have voices. Because like even the rest of the world, like recently, they've been seeing images of like South Sudanese women. They're talking about the dowry price and they're like, why is she, well, she's beautiful. Why is she having to wait on this man to pay for her when she could just come to the West, et cetera, et cetera. And you see the comment section of other people in other cultures commenting on the trappings kind of our culture at certain points, which is kind of fucked up that like these young ladies who could be doing so much more are trapped in the patriarchy that we have. And it's kind of fucked because the only way that they can survive is through these marriages with these men who we don't know, like you said, femicide, everything else. We don't even know the statistics, what it's like back home.
Yeah.
And we know for a fact that these men ain't shit back home. And that's just the truth of it.
Wait, how do we know that for a fact?
Come on.
Okay.
Come on. Like, are we going to pretend like we didn't see what the atrocities that they did between themselves in the war? Like, using that as a tool is insane.
I don't think it's the men. I think it's like the culture that we uphold. Like the patriarchy, like child marriage, stuff like that. That's like normalized, and that people uphold that and they keep it and they just like carry it on. I think that's BS. That's bullshit. But I don't think that the men ain't shit. Personally,
I'm not saying.
I just think that they just carry on the culture that is like that's just been prevalent for however long.
If you take your daughter and you raise her and you look at her and you see that little girl and you think to yourself, "I'm gonna get money off of this thing." Did you ever really love your daughter?
Is that how people are thinking?
But I think
you think that that's what like parents think, like
parents,
like from
objectively,
from birth.
I think objectively from birth, when they see that it's a little girl, they think to themselves, money, especially if they're poor.
But that's just our culture. It's a poor society. So unfortunately, that's just how the society runs. It's like based off like, you know, cows and like dowry, and young girls are more valuable. And so, unfortunately, that's just how the whole entire society runs. And even parents operate within that same society. The parents, everybody's complicit. Even
I think education too, because I feel like as people have like gotten educated and you know gotten acclimated, like I personally know my dad didn't think that.
Right.
So I think that culturally that is a practice that happens, but I don't think it's all about like, oh, I have a daughter, I can't wait to get my dowry. Like I don't think that
because does anyone get like wealthy? Like I wonder, like I'm just curious, like does anyone ever ascend
it goes to family?
It's your uncles. My bad. I didn't mean the fathers. It's the uncles that are ready. They're like, are you ready to?
Yeah, it's not all just to your dad. Mostly it's other people that get like the majority of it. Yeah. So I don't know.
But also it makes me think about, because I've had conversations, like nobody knows this, but I have an older sister, right? And she's back home. She has kids. And I've been an uncle since I was like 17 or 16. She's only like 8-9 months or 12 months older than me, something like that. I don't know. But like the thing about it is like I expect she was smart. She had a great mind on her. My dad was always trying to get her here. I probably should not be telling this story. No, think about it. But let's just say that, like, for those young women, it's either I can't get my education, so let me go to this older man who could provide for me and my kids. And that's the only way that I have out.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's terrifying.
I think it's the economy and like how like it's just a poor society, and then our culture naturally agrees to it because we're a poor society. So it's like cows, dowry, exchange, okay, So I think there's a lot more in hand, but I don't even. How do we even get to child marriage? Literal.
Because
let's
I mean that's what the patriarchy equals to. It's basically where women are a commodity.
You're spiraling.
How do we get down to this? Like, outside?
Well, you guys let us know, because obviously it's intricate, complicated.
Yes,
we took it a lot of different directions.
Yes.
I don't even know.
How do we round this out? Because there was a lot that was said in that video. Do y'all agree with her or disagree with her? Or are you in the middle?
We have a lot of trauma. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay, that's your answer. You stick it to it. Okay.
I will definitely say she wasn't lying, but I don't want to generalize and make it seem like that's the whole male population. I just feel like there are some that have those traits and attributes, but it's not all of them. But I can definitely see where she's coming from.
Yeah, I agree. I think she spoke her truth, and I don't know why people are mad at her. Like, she's speaking,
and her truth just happened to be mine, but that doesn't mean that's everyone's truth.
Yeah. Like, people in the comments should be helping her instead of.
Some people were agreeing.
Helping her. Tell her where she can find
what were the comments looking like?
A lot of people were saying that she didn't lie.
It was 50-50,
and then some people obviously were saying stuff, especially like a little bit of the older guys back home. But I mean, that's to be expected.
Right.
So
right.
I think some people are saying don't generalize as well. So
right.
And I think that's important not to do. But I do think that some of the concerns that she raised were very valid, and it is a real thing. So
real quick before close, what does it mean to not generalize? Because I mean, I know what it means, but when we're talking, like,
because it's not
you
fair.
Have to speak, like you're speaking, like you. I mean, like,
but it will make it seem like all South Sudanese guys are bums, and that's not fair to say, because there are a lot of successful, a lot of accomplished that work hard, that really try. It's just not fair to just. Paint everybody with the same brush.
But it's hard at the same time, because I feel we all have our experiences that we carry with us. So it's hard to my anecdotal experiences, sometimes I might say it as if it's the thing.
Yeah.
But or other people do that and it's very normal. But there's a difference between anecdotal experiences and actual evidence. We don't have actual statistical data on
that's true.
the rate of South Sudanese men economic. We don't have that data.
Absolutely.
So we lean a lot on the anecdotal experiences.
I guess I can see that, because even though I haven't had a bad experience with South Sudanese men, but I've never had an adult relationship with a South Sudanese man as of recent. So maybe, but I mean, the guys that I've talked to, and I feel like they were great candidates and
eligible bachelors.
Yes. I never had an issue with they were in gangs, or they don't have their ish together. They're not financial. I've always talked to South Sudanese guys that were at least had a higher income than me, or were responsible. So I had a good experience with South Sudanese guys, but obviously a lot of girls and other girls have had bad experiences, and vice versa. So that's why. So I can understand how it can come off as a generalization.
As a South Sudanese man, I'll say it's do I have South Sudanese brothers and sisters that are in prison? Yes. Do I have some that have gone and are in the afterlife? Yes. Do I have a lot of successful ones? Yes. Is it just the same statistic as just being black men in the United States? That's just the truth.
Yeah. So
that's a perfect way to round that.
Yeah. So it's just tough. It's just tough, because I can understand how it can go multiple ways, because it's just tough. So we're trying to figure out the whole dating experience in the South Sudanese diaspora. Let us know y'all's experience in the comments, whether it's been good, bad, in between, and how you feel about this whole entire conversation.
And do you think that there was some truth to what she said? And just comments, because I feel like we're
figuring it out. We don't know the answers.
We're just spitballing.
Yeah. Because and also we're in the U.S., so our experience may be a little bit different than someone who's in Canada and Australia or the UK. So, but who knows? I would love to hear everybody's individual experience, though.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
Love it.
Yeah.
Well,
thank you guys.
thank you guys so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, share, subscribe. And
Yes.
Stream my sister's song season.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Sarah, do
Yes.
a shout out.
Okay,
Yeah.
so we have to give a big shout out to Blue Nile, not Blue Ivy, but not Blue Ivy, but Blue Nile and Amanual for putting out their song Seasons. August 14th, it finally came out. It took a while because I really loved that song for like 3 months, and y'all just now put it out.
What do you mean for 3 months? It's been a year.
Yeah, it was a
it's been
long
year.
time.
I love that song. I'm so happy it's out.
Yeah, it's a
So,
really, really good song. So
it's a vibe. Amanuel's on there. He's featured. And
Yes.
Are you singing?
Yeah.
He's
And
singing and rapping. And
Yeah.
he killed it. I was pleasantly surprised.
He's
So that was dope. Yeah.
Yes. So y'all make sure
And
you go
Dinka
stream.
at that. So
In Dinka.
That wasn't really rapping though.
No, you were singing that part. You were singing, talking, but it was cute.
Yeah.
It matched. But you guys make sure to stream Seasons. Y'all leave a comment, subscribe,
Yes.
and we will see you on the next episode. Thank you
Yay.
guys so much.
Bye.